Okay, it's finally bounty time. After the, let's say, controversial ending to the Wano Kuni arc, technically we have just kicked off the next arc of the Straw Hats adventure, even though we of course have no clue where we're gonna head next and what's going to happen. But right now we're back to full One Piece glory and there is a lot of stuff going on. Just as you, I'm a real sucker for whenever the crew is simply hanging out on board of the Sunny and having a real good time together, even if it is without Yamato. Jinbei finally being an official part of this all and seeing him interact with everyone is something that I've been waiting for forever, but the wait has more than paid off. It's fantastic having him be part of the crew at this moment. Of course, we have to talk in detail about the bounties of all the Straw Hats, but we also got an absolutely fantastic look at the Cross Guild organization, how it was founded, and why Buggy, once again, wasn't the secret genius that you secretly wanted him to be. Admit it as well. With Mihawk and Dragon, we have not only one, but two characters back in the story that have a similar level of hype around them whenever they pop up as our red-haired Papa Pirates. And I can't even describe how excited I am to have Sir Crocodile back in the game as well. One of the most intriguing and exciting characters in all of One Piece, who, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, seemingly has grown significantly stronger and powerful enough to play on this big stage again. Really tell us that Mr. Zero is going to be a true force to be reckoned with in the future. Actually, even though I can't wait to talk about the Straw Hats and their bounties, let's start off with the Cross Guild after all. I have so many thoughts on everything that has been revealed here. Oh, also, maybe you think you already have, but please quickly check if you're already subscribed. It's free and it helps me a lot to make better content for you. Now, Cross Guild, it turns out, was purely the idea of Sir Crocodile. I mean, we basically got no updates on what the most mafioso villain of One Piece got up to after the events at Marineford. Well, turns out he wasn't just sitting around enjoying a well-deserved cigar and retirement. I mean, scheming to overthrow an entire country is a lot of work, let's be real. Instead, Crocodile seems to have waited for his chance to get back into the big game once more. The moment the government declared the end of the warlord system after the Reverie and started coming for the former Chichibukai, Crocodile took that chance and made a call to his former warlord colleague, Mihawk. During that call, he offered him an alliance to join hands and become a force that can play in the game of finding the One Piece. Interestingly enough, Mihawk has accepted this offer pretty fast. He and Crocodile together are the actual bosses of this new organization, Cross Guild. Now, I will say that Mihawk has a lot of these ... speech bubbles here, which usually suggests some ulterior motives in some way or form. In other words, Mihawk surely has his own reasons for joining this alliance, and there must be something in it for himself. And by the way, what is with Mihawk's epic epithet? The Marine Hunter? How cool is that? We're finally starting to get some real background information about all those mysterious, legendary characters. And it's of course especially fun because, as you probably also thought, it fits in very nicely indeed with Zoro's epithet of Pirate Hunter. I mean, it really cements their relationship. Maybe Zoro's title also played a role in Mihawk sparing his life and taking him on as his apprentice. I mean, who knows, he might even have seen a younger version of himself in Zoro. The Pirate Hunter who became a pirate and the Marine Hunter who became a Marine, until he went back to hunting them. Let's really hope that that's not some sort of strange foreshadowing for Zoro. We also finally get confirmation from the Marines that Mihawk is a more skilled swordsman than Shanks. Which, you know, kind of was obvious, I guess. Like, after all, Shanks isn't the strongest swordsman in the world. Mihawk is. But I hope you agree that it's really awesome as a line for both characters. I mean, for Mihawk, it basically confirms that he's able to spar with someone on a Yonko level and is either very close to or even on the Emperor level. I do want to say that makes his performance at Marineford straight out rude. I mean, was basically just chilling then. But okay, whatever. I think it's also pretty high praise for Shanks, don't you think? I mean, we have just gotten a real taste of his next level Haki abilities, far surpassing anything we have seen from any other character in the story so far. His Conqueror's Haki is even able to cancel out people's future sight. What? And so now we pretty much get confirmation here that Shanks is the second strongest swordsman in the world right now, behind Mihawk. Is that, do I get that correctly? So not only is that man an absolute Haki monster, but also capable of sparring on a level with the world's strongest swordsman. And he can set his sword on fire apparently. What an absolute beast. I hope we get to see these two clash at least once in the story, even if it's only in a friendly manner, like please. And then Buggy really just got entangled into this entire mess in the most unlucky way imaginable. When he was about to run away from the Marines, Crocodile swept in and took all of them out. As it turns out, Buggy owed him quite a lot of money, like a lot. And since launching an organization like Cross Guild that takes on the government and hands out bounties on their heads, that takes a lot of financial resources, well, Crocodile had to come to Buggy to cash in on that debt. I'm really dying to know, like I can't wait to find out when and for what Buggy borrowed so much money for. Anyways, the clown, who of course didn't have the money ready, offered the operations of his delivery service to Crocodile to use the existing infrastructure as a starting point. Only that Buggy's men, of course, who still think that he is the most powerful pirate on all the seas, put out the promotional poster for the Cross Guilds without double checking with anyone. And of course, he should be the leader of it all, right? And thus Buggy is now stuck on Karaibari Island. Karaibari, by the way, literally meaning bluffing in Japanese. Pretty fitting to everything that Buggy is doing there. Instead of taking him out though, Crocodile and Mihawk then decide to have him be the official head of the organization to draw attention away from whatever they're doing. And really, it's pretty funny to see that all of Buggy's inner circle is there and they're all completely fine with all this, because they all know all too well that Buggy is really just one big fraud. Love the dynamic here. And so the question now, of course, is what do Crocodile and Mihawk really want? Do they want to go for the One Piece? Do they just want to live a good life without having to fear the Marines? Or do they want something else entirely? When it was still unclear whether or not Buggy might not actually be the leader of this organization, well, I personally thought it was possible that Cross Guild would be a real threat to Luffy on a level equal to Blackbeard even maybe. But now, seeing that this turned out to be wrong once again, I personally like to think that Cross Guild might end up being more of an ally than an enemy to the Straw Hats, really. I mean, for one, I'm a massive fan of the Crocomom theory. I actually made a whole video about it, so if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, really make sure to check it out. But even if Crocodile does not turn out to be Luffy's mom, he still actively protected Luffy and risked his life for him during Marineford, where, by the way, he also clashed with a certain Mihawk. And of course, while Zoro and Mihawk should absolutely fight at some point in the story, there's still a real relationship here between a teacher and a student. Mihawk made Zoro what he is today and sees him as a worthy candidate. So I really hope we get to see regular updates on all of these three regularly from now on, because I am super hyped to see where all of this is going with the Cross Guilds. I also quickly wanted to address the ongoing subplot surrounding the Germa on Whole Cake Islands. I, for one, am really excited that Caesar is back, and I'm really curious where all these characters will be fleeing to next. And I also hope that it will lure Katakuri back into the world as well. I need that man back in the story. But for now, let's move on to the revolutionaries. All the commanders who infiltrated Marijoa and faced off against two of the admirals have now returned to Kamabaka Island, the new headquarters of the revolutionaries. It's a really cool scene here, seeing Kuma and Dragon talking, but Kuma still is full cyborg slave mode here, sadly. So it will take someone like Chopper or Frankie or who knows, Dr. Vegapunk himself maybe, to turn him back into a real human being, I think. And I'm also extremely curious if Bonnie is with him or not. I was actually surprised how harshly Dragon was also talking here about Sabo. Did Dragon have some sort of connection or relationship to King Cobra? Or is he simply appalled at the thought of Sabo killing someone? Which, you know, yeah, isn't nice, but he did send his troops to invade the most powerful institution and the gathering of the world's kingdoms. I mean, someone could get hurt. Anyways, we do see Sabo calling Koala, so I do hope we get a continuation of this next time. I really want to know where Sabo is, what happened, and whether or not Vivi is with him. Because now would of course be the perfect time for Vivi to rejoin with the Straw Hats. Which of course brings me all the way back to the Thousand Sunny, as the Straw Hats are leaving the waters of Wano. I find it hilarious that Oda-sensei, by the way, basically bullied his two new emperors in this chapter at the same time. Because apparently Nami has locked Luffy up in a metal cage for steering the Sunny down the edge of Wano's borders. Understandable, but why the heck does she have that thing in the first place? That's a bit concerning. Jinbei, who is really hanging with the Straw Hat crew for the first time outside of a major battle situation, laughs at Nami's anger outbreak, only to get shut down really fast by one of Nami's anger outbursts. Now, this scene here, Jinbei says, "Is that Conqueror's Haki?" And I bet there will now be a massive debate whether this is real or not. I mean, Oda-sensei did draw these tiny black lightnings from Nami as well. I personally still think this is more of a joke here, but then again, who knows? Maybe it's foreshadowing for Nami actually having Conqueror's Haki at some point later on in the story. Might explain her sixth sense for reading the weather as well. So that would be something else for sure. And poor Sanji really, because he didn't get any so far. So as a quick recap, here are all the updated bounties of the Straw Hats. Luffy, we of course already know, 3 billion. That's a bit less than Mihawk's 3.5 million, but quite a bit more than Crocodile's 1.9. Chopper has gotten the biggest increase, 10 times his previous bounty, but it's still only at 1,000 berries. Poor guy. Nami has 366 million, which is more than Luffy had at Marineford. Pretty damn impressive. Brook has 383 and Frankie 394 million. Which I found a little bit unfair. I mean, both Brook and Frankie are way more powerful than most people give them credit for. Both of them were more than ready to keep fighting and barely took any damage as far as I can remember. So I think they could have deserved a little bit more, but it's still pretty impressive. Usopp has now finally caught up with his god Usopp market worth on Dressrosa and is at 500 million berries, which is awesome, especially given his really intense reaction to it. Robin's bounty is really interesting. I actually did predict that she would have a really high one. I mean, yes, she is strong and apparently has awakened her devil fruit and haki at this point, question mark. But it's of course also mostly due to who she is. The last survivor of Ohara and probably the only person so far as we know able to decipher the poneglyphs. With 930 million, she's just short of that 1 billion berry mark, which I personally guess Oda-sensei did to distinguish the top 3 fighters in the crew, Sanji, Jinbei, and Zoro, who are all really close to each other. Sanji with 1 billion and 32 million, Jinbei with 1 billion and 100 million, and Zoro with just 1,100, so basically one chopper more than Jinbei, giving him barely the number 2 spot behind Luffy. I mean, Sanji was slightly above Zoro last time, and now it's the other way around. And the banter between these two, just the best. Like, this chapter is classic One Piece, fantastic. Zoro of course teasing Sanji with being number 4, love it. And all those little details, like Sanji bursting completely into flames in his anger. I mean, even though the dynamics in the crew haven't changed the slightest, each and every one of the Straw Hats are now absolute monsters. There's no other way of putting it. A truly powerful Yonko crew. I mean, can they get any stronger even? Well, absolutely, I think. Oda-sensei has shown that Luffy can still grow in terms of his Zone Devil Fruit, his Haki abilities, and even the voice of all things. If you want to know what Luffy's next power-up will look like, well, you shouldn't miss out on this video here at any cost. Like, watch this. Like, you should absolutely not miss out, not miss out on it.